Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. I'd like to deliver my first official Dharma talk to the Buddhist Temple of Marin. Um, we'll start today with a moment of quiet sitting to prepare ourselves to listen to the Dharma. I'll ring the bell once and then we'll sit for a few moments. And then after that, I'll ring the bell again and we'll continue. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, 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 Namanda. So welcome everyone. I'd like to start today's Dharma message with a quote from Soga Ryojin, who is a scholar in the Otani school. If you could join me in Gassho. In the world of karma, nobody is an island by themselves. Everybody is linked with everybody else. All sentient beings, and not only sentient beings, but all things in the world, are linked in mutual empathy. The world of karma is a world of mutual resonance in coexistence. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about karma and understanding our ancestors. As I've been at Berkeley Buddhist Temple for maybe 6 years, I think. Yeah, 6 years. I had the good fortune to be a part of and then eventually lead at one of our book clubs. And oftentimes the discussion of karma would come up. And people had issues with understanding how karma relates to ethics and the idea of cultivating merit in Buddhism and doing good things and doing bad things. Because in Jodo Shinshu, we sort of reject the notion that we can really know what is truly good or bad, because all of our karmic activity is evil. That's because in the Buddhist cosmology, in Jodo Shinshu, we cannot save ourselves from samsara. We have to rely on Amida's directing of merit or virtue. And that enables us to grow and to change and to escape our narrow views, eventually leading us to birth in the Pure Land. In Buddhism, karma is defined as our actions, our activity, or the law of cause and effect. And this karma is part of our interconnectedness, and it's part of the truth of the Dharma, or the Buddhist teachings. However, there's misconceptions in popular culture. You might have heard the phrase that karma is a bad thing to deal with. You might have heard the phrase, what goes around comes around, and you reap what you sow. While some of those things are a little bit true, I don't think it truly gets to the depth of the Buddhist understanding of karma. Because dharmic karma is cause and effect. It's knowing that our actions affect the world around us, and also that those actions will also affect ourselves. And this is an ethical understanding of what activity in the world, and it can give us an ethical philosophy of what we do. Jesus shared in his Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 7:12, he shares the golden rule, which is in some ways an understanding of karma. He says that, so then in everything, treat others the same way you want them to treat you. For this is the essence of the law and the writings of the prophets. More than an ethical guideline, however, karma describes a complex web of relationships that we all share. Understanding karma as cause and effect is a great way to guide our actions, but there's more to it than just that. Encountering the true nature of karma can be healing for those who have been hurt, or if you have loved ones who you've lost, it helps you to feel less alone. Or if drastic change has occurred in your life, it helps us know that we're all connected. And so that what we're encountering and what we're feeling is not something that is only something that we have to deal with, but everyone around us also feels those feelings. Renyo Shonin says, because it is through Amida's Dharma that the sentient beings who rely on the Buddha are liberated, we say Namo Amida Butsu represents the unity of beings and the Dharma. When we have an honest and true encounter with the Dharma, a small change occurs within us, and we see the world in a different way. You may know, or you may not know, that I'm a convert to Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. So there's a question that I've also often turned over in my mind. I was raised Christian, and my ancestors, for as far back as I know, are all Christians as well. So I wonder about my karmic connection to them and my faith as a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist. This question has bothered me over the past few years. What about my ancestors in the Pure Land? Will my parents and grandparents be born there and become Buddha? Have my relatives who have died already become Buddhas, even though they are Christian? My teacher and mentor at the Institute of Buddhist Studies and my personal favorite scholar, Reverend Matsumoto, often tells us students when we ask a difficult question, maybe it's a cop-out, I'm not sure, but he says, perhaps you're asking the wrong question. And so I began to examine that question a little bit more after a visit with my family a few years ago. My family lives in rural southwestern Virginia in the Appalachian Mountains. And when I was 19 years old, I came out to them and it didn't go well. And so I decided it was time for me to move out on my own for a while. I wanted to put distance between me and my parents, even though they still wanted to see me. I had to deal with a lot of pain from their fear and their rejection. However, I still had a close relationship with my nanny and papa, who are my dad's parents. They helped to raise me when I was a little kid. My papa is a silly man, but he's also has a big heart. He could diffuse any tension with a silly joke. My nanny is also very loving. She's strong and tough, but she would do anything for you. One day, when my dad was a kid, he and my papa were getting on her nerves, and she was trying to bake bread. And so as she was kneading the bread, she got so frustrated that she threw the dough at them. It hit the wall, and they both ran out of the house and stayed away from her for a few hours. Her and my papa showed me a no matter what kind of love. The kind of love that I could depend on, whatever I was going through, whatever I said and did, no matter how it seemed on the outside, they knew that inside I'm still CJ and they still loved me. And so when I think about the questions of Buddhas and ancestors and conflicts in our faith and our family, I came up with a bit of clarity after a discussion with my nanny. When I was 8 in 1995, Nanny's father, my great papa Everett, passed away. A few years ago in the summer when I was visiting her, we were sitting on the porch in the summer, and she told me how it had happened. I was pretty young, so I don't remember all of the details, and I didn't know about all of the adult things that happened, so this moment was really special to me. Everett had been in the hospital at the time because the doctors had thought that he'd had a stroke. And Nanny was telling me this very important moment in her life. And at the time, the doctor called her, and she was with my dad, Chris, my papa, Harvey, and my uncle, Tim. And the doctor told them that they needed to come straight to the hospital. I have a quote of what she told me when she told me this story. So I'll read that with you now. There's a bit of mountain vernacular, so if it's difficult to understand, I'll be happy to maybe discuss that later. So after the doctor told her that they needed to come to the hospital, she said, "So we did. We went over there." He said, "He has cancer, brain cancer. It's terminal. I can't give him no treatments, Lita. He's too old, too far gone. If you give him one treatment of chemo, it'll kill him." I said, "What time limit are you thinking about?" He said, "It'll be a miracle if he lives another week. You can take him home. I'll fix it to where you won't lose your job. They just got that leave thing out." He said, "You can take care of him there, or you can stay here in the hospital. Whatever you all decide." I said, "You're going to tell him, ain't you?" He said, "I think anybody that I have, a patient that's a cancer patient, needs to know, so that if they have anything that they need to do about their soul or anything else, that they have a chance to do it." And he said, "And I don't think, CJ, that I will ever forget that day as long as I live. That man, the doctor, sat down beside of Daddy in the bed. I don't think anybody could have done anything better than that man did. He was a young man. He sat down on the bed beside Daddy, and he said, 'Mr. McGuire, we did your test, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you're facing.' Daddy said, 'Okay.' The doctor said, 'You have brain cancer.' Daddy said, 'You're going to operate on me and fix it, ain't you?' He said, he sat there a minute, and Chris was in the room, my dad. The doctor said, 'No, Mr. McGuire, I'm not. I'm not going to do anything because it'll only make you sicker.' Daddy said, 'Am I going to die?' The doctor said, 'We're all going to die sometime. Whenever God gets ready for us, that's when we're going to die. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm sorry. Until the day God takes you, me, and these people standing here in this room are going to be there.' Daddy never said a word. He just said, 'Okay.' The doctor said, 'You can stay in the hospital, or your daughter said she'd take you home.' Daddy said, 'I want to go home.' So that's what we did. We brought him home. He lived 3 weeks. I continue to think of Nanny's words from the doctor. We're all going to die sometime. Whenever God gets ready for us, that's when we're going to die. But until the day God takes you, me and these people standing here in this room is going to be there." Like I said before, Nanny's a very strong woman. Yet she told me those words with tears in her eyes. I think there was a sadness, but also a great comfort in this memory she shared with me. You see, when times seem their darkest and we feel so alone, we never truly are. Our lives are constantly changing, and when we experience loss, our loved ones are reaching out to us and teaching us always. Feeling alone and being afraid during these challenging times is only natural, but we have our memories, we have each other, and through all those things we have the Dharma, which is what brings us all here together right now. The truth is that we're never alone. Our loved ones still speak to us and teach us the Dharma of our connectedness. These connections never end. Rather, they change and evolve throughout time. And this can be a comfort when we feel alone, afraid, or sad. I'd like to close today's talk with a quote from Shinran Shonin on the power of Amida's Dharma and the vow of salvation from Amida Buddha. If you'll please join me in Gassho. It is a great torch in the long night of ignorance. Do not sorrow that your eyes of wisdom are dark. It is a ship on the vast ocean of birth and death. Do not grieve that your obstructions of karmic evil are heavy. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Okay, that's all I have to share for today. Thank you so much for coming. I'll end the recording now and unmute everyone. If you'd like to stay and chat for a little while, I'd be happy to do that.